Well, Jerry, I guess we're not getting our countdown timer, so that part of it didn't get set up. So we are live right now. I'm Jeff
Right
Andrulonis
on.
from the River, and Jerry, thanks for joining me this afternoon. Jerry from Law Tigers in North Carolina. Awesome for you to join us.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
So tell me where you're at right now.
I am actually in my van, just coming back from South Carolina to meet one of the folks that I work with, and give him some flyers for an event that's coming up. And I'm just pulled off a 95, sitting in my van.
Nice. All right, why not? It's a great thing about social media. You can do these things from absolutely anywhere, right?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I've done a couple of Facebook lives in just the most bizarre places. So
Yeah, well, let's not even go there. That could get us both into trouble, you know. This segment ends up getting broadcast, you know. So, Jerry, you and I have gotten to know each other really well, and one of the things that I really appreciate about you is that you're a real guy, a meat-eating, flag-waving kind of guy, and I love it. It is so much fun talking with you. We had a great time a couple of weeks back at Fort Bragg Harley-Davidson here in Fayetteville for the Combat Veterans Association motorcycle ride. That was a great day.
that was an awesome day, and they had such a great turnout. You know, folks coming from Kentucky and a number of states away. When you consider how cold it was, that's dedication.
That's right. That's right. I want to say that was like 2 weeks back, and it was still cold at that point.
And blustery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No doubt. You also were telling me about a bike blessing that happened at Freedom Biker Church. Now, I wasn't able to be there, but tell me a little bit about what went on there.
So that was my second time I've actually been there, and
Oh, cool.
JD and that whole crew out there at the Fayetteville Freedom Biker Church are phenomenal human beings. And even with COVID, the last time I went, a club had invited me out there. They didn't know I was coming. They made me feel right at home and set me up right away. And this year, of course, they knew we were coming. Folks show up. There's camaraderie. There's blessings. We do the national anthem. We do all these great things, and then they bless the bikes. And there were probably, and all makes and models are welcome. But there were probably, it was majority Harley Davidsons, a good number of Indians, some Triumphs, a few Gold Wings, that kind of thing. And then they bless the bikes, and we all need some blessing out there when you're on the road with other drivers. So we will take all the help we can get.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because I do want to spend a little bit of time talking about Law Tigers. But before we do that, the Law Tigers organization is doing so much for the biker community. And with you being involved in it and the kind of guy you are, that makes it really cool.
Thanks. But I mean, so for me, I'm retired Army. And so I'm kind of picky about where I wanted to work. And one of the things that about Law Tigers that appealed to me so much is they actually are very community driven. So, we want to be part of the community. We are part of the community. I was part of the biker community before I took the job. My firm is exceptionally involved in community support, constantly finding somebody to help out every month in a large way, frankly, in various community efforts. They're all charitable. And it could be from, puppy dogs to homeless vets. They do all kinds of things. And then Law Tigers as an organization is the same way. For me, I've got the ability to go and work events. Well, I try to work charity events more than I like any others. And that's why, being at Combat Vets the other day, that was important to me. Those kinds of things, it's just, we are part of this community. We care about this community and we're committed to it because we are the community, right? I mean, well, it's not the same as somebody who's just, out and about, and God bless them. You work hard and do the things you need to do, but actually we bring the community to the table because that's us.
Yeah. And that's got to be great for you as well, because, like you said, you were, when you were looking for something to do, you needed the reality and the genuineness and the authenticity that the biker community is all about, and that's what Law Tigers is, because these guys are bikers too.
Yep, absolutely. And it's tough to find a place where they let me in like that. So that was kind of cool.
Well, I wasn't going to go there, but there is that component too. And the thing about the biker community, they're regular guys, but if you're not authentic, if you're not genuine, they see right through that in about 2 seconds. And, obviously you're walking the walk, and the rest of the Law Tigers organization, same way.
Yes, sir. And that's really very, very true. It's, I mean, you can say it's a requirement that you ride. That's not the same as honestly being a rider. We are who we say we are. And
that's right.
That means a lot. That means a lot.
Yeah. I want to kind of touch on the Law Tigers organization itself. You mentioned before, bikers need all the blessings they can get when they're out on the road with cars, 18-wheelers, so on and so forth. Let's say the unimaginable happens and somebody is injured on a bike. Why does that person not want to go to the same lawyer that did grandma's will or help them with a real estate closing? Why Law Tigers?
I have a really funny analogy for that, and I think I came up with it one day just sitting out there chatting with some guys and some gals. And so, yes, they're all attorneys. Just like a cardiologist is a doctor. A proctologist is a doctor. You don't want one doing the other one's job. And it's the same way. It's the same way with the practice of law. Attorneys specialize in various things. And that's what makes them really good at what they do. And so, when it comes to motorcycle injuries, my folks are writers. They understand the nuances. I've sat in one of my attorney's offices and just listened to her argue with an insurance company once about a paint job, and she just wouldn't let it go because she knew how important this particular paint was to this dude who got, well, he was actually fine at that point. He had paid a whole lot of money for that, and the insurance company finally came off and said, okay, fine. But she wouldn't let it go. I would say that about all three of them. I'm a huge fan of pit bulls, and I would describe them as, when it comes time to, if it's necessary to fight, well, you're entering the ring with a pit.
Nice. As opposed to a Cocker Spaniel, right?
Exactly. But a Cocker Spaniel has a job, right?
Yeah, well, and that's just it. I was while you were talking about that, I was thinking about, Matlock. Andy Griffith, of course, was from North Carolina. Matlock was a great lawyer, but not the kind of lawyer you want when you're dealing with a motorcycle personal injury situation.
Absolutely not. And it's funny you say that about Andy Griffith. When I was in college at UNCW, I was bartending in Southport, North Carolina, the place I was born.
Yeah.
And Andy Griffith, they filmed a couple episodes down there, and old Andy would come into the restaurant and.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's very cool. So how do people reach Law Tigers if they need to?
There's a number of ways. You can go to lawtigers.com, all one word, LAWTIGERS. You can call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS. The great thing about Law Tigers is wherever you are, if you call us, it comes back. If it's North Carolina, it comes back to me. And in fact, if you were in South Carolina or Georgia, and you were from North Carolina, but you had an accident down there, they'd start you in Georgia, and you'd still have the option coming back to North Carolina. We're going to put you where you need to be. And the great thing is, and there are lots of systems and there's lots of business models and there are ways to do this. My attorneys are all local. My attorneys are Eastern North Carolina people. My attorneys, one of them graduated from ECU. Actually, I'm sorry, 2 did their undergraduate at ECU. They are committed to our state.
Yeah, and the local area, and that's really important. There's a number of events that are coming up, and I'm really interested in hearing about the Outer Banks Rally. If you can hear me, you are muted right now for some reason. I'm not sure why. Okay. Not sure what happened there. Okay, while Jerry's getting the audio together, the Outer Banks Rally is coming up in just a little bit over a week from now. It's happening the 17th through the 25th of April, and there's a wide variety of events going on there. And I'm hoping that Jerry, are you back now? No, Jerry's not back yet. Not sure how we lost that. I've got a muted microphone sign there on. Yeah, somehow Jerry muted himself according to what I'm seeing. So hopefully he'll get that figured out. And we've got Christy looking around as well. Yeah, I got a message saying that he muted himself. So I can't unmute him. See that message up there? Can't unmute your guest because they chose to mute themselves. So not sure what happened there. If we don't get Jerry back here in a minute or two, we'll try getting reconnected here pretty shortly. But again, the Outer Banks Rally is happening in just a little bit over a week. There are a ton of events happening along the Outer Banks, kind of centered in the Kitty Hawk area. That's happening from the 17th through the 25th of April. I was also really interested in talking with Jerry about the Styling in Sturgis contest, because that is a summer-long contest that starts in the middle of May and it runs all the way through the middle of July, and that is going to be huge. Jerry, I think you might be back. Let's see if he reconnects here. I lost the mic mute button there, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed that he pops right back on. And assuming he does, we'll get him back on the call here in just a second. But I was talking about Styling in Sturgis. That is a summer contest that's happening starting in mid-May, and it's running all the way through the middle part of July. And I know you're going to want to participate in that. Because of everything that's happening this summer. The other thing that's going on, let's see if we've got Jerry reconnected here. The other thing that's happening is the All Harley Drag Racing Association is having an event in Darlington, 30th of April and 1st of May. Jerry, are you there now?
I think I'm back.
Oh, awesome. Okay, we got you back. And that was some kind of cover on my part. I was just talking about the Outer Banks Rally that's happening in like a week or so, then Styling in Sturgis, and then that takes us right up to the drag racing event at Darlington. So why don't we get started with Outer Banks Rally? I have not gone. Yep. I'm hoping to be there this year, so tell me about it.
I am very, very excited about it. So there are two great places with things going on. On the 17th, it actually starts at Outer Banks Harley Davidson. They've got awesome stuff to do, and you're in the Outer Banks. There's great food, there's great nightlife, there's good riding to head down to Hatters if that's something you want to do, or ride 264. The easiest thing for me to say about that is if you pick up the new Carolina Full Throttles this month, open it up, that first page ad is a schedule of all the events in both locations. So on the 22nd, a second location opens up down at Vertigo Tattoo in Anns Harbor. So basically you cover that, 20 miles or so of the beach, and you've got the north stuff going on at OBX Harley Davidson and Harbinger, and then you have the stuff going on at Vertigo Tattoo. And the Vertigo Tattoo part is to raise money for Dare County children in need. And Rhett Rotten will be there doing Wall of Death. It's going to be a blast.
That's awesome.
The OBX, Harley Davidson, and Mania, or Mans Harbor.
Okay. So you pick up Carolina Full Throttle. No, that sounds awesome. I was just saying, you pick up Carolina Full Throttle and get a complete schedule of events if you want to participate in that. And Jerry will be there.
I will. I'll be at OBX Harley Davidson the first few days, and then I'll be down at Vertigo.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah,
now, you guys, that is going to be awesome. You guys, in addition to that, though, you've got the Styling in Sturgis contest that kicks off in like just a little bit over a month. Maggie and Michelle were telling me about this event, it's just a summer-long contest.
It is, and it really behooves you to enter. This year, I think, is probably one of the biggest prize packs that we've ever done. I'm not going to say everything that's in it yet. It is very large. To sign up, it's one of those things that's not going to cost you a dime, and it certainly make your Sturgis trip one of a lifetime, probably.
Yeah, well, I'm glad I didn't realize that some of the prizes were still secret. So when I was talking with Maggie and Michelle, I'm glad I didn't spill the beans just now. But yeah, you are going to absolutely love the prize pack this year because
Absolutely.
it is, yeah, it's pretty good stuff. Okay, and then the other one that I am really excited about, having lived in Darlington for a little while, is your event at Darlington on 30 April and 1 May.
Yeah, right on. So we are a title sponsor for the All Harley World Shootout, and that's primarily put on by Paul Watson of Lumbee Racing. We've got a number of co-sponsors and sponsorships that run through that event, but Paul and Bill Rowe from AHDRA put on great drag racing events. And for me, unlike a lot of other racing, the pits are always open at drag races. You want to learn something about a motorcycle, you can go talk to that rider. You can come up close and see the bikes. I mean, there's just so much going on. And if you go to the Lumbee Racing Facebook page, you can see the flyers to tell you exactly all the things that are happening. But there's a whole bunch happening, and they're guaranteed purses. It's going to be a great race.
Yeah, and that's a great thing about local grassroots racing, whether you're talking cars, bikes, whatever, you get up close and personal to to the bike, to the car, you get up close and personal to the drivers. It's just a very, very cool experience that, and again, not that I don't like NASCAR, but you can't get that in a NASCAR style event. It's just not possible.
Nope. I mean, and one of the things I'm finding about racing that I love the most is it really spurs younger generations of potential motorcyclists to get into the sport of riding bikes, and not just riding them, but building them and modifying them. I've just noticed in general, there are a lot more younger people, I mean, I'm old, really getting into building bikes now. And that's super cool. Because for a while, I mean, it dropped. After 2008, the industry itself just started going downhill pretty rapidly. And right now it's just coming back as hard as it can come. And I think racing's a big part of that.
Yeah. I'm thinking of one of my salespeople here at the radio station. Husband is at Fort Bragg, races bikes every single weekend, and it gets people into, the motorcycle community. And John, I think is like 23 years old. And I was like, yeah, right on.
Yep.
So I remember in the late 70s, early 80s, running around at NHRA events and even old NASCAR events as well, and looking at the equipment and what those guys were doing. So to see young people, and I do resemble your remark about there being more young people than there ever has been before. I'm not going so far as to say that makes me old, but maybe it does. But to have a 23-year-old SF guy at Fort Bragg who's into riding bikes, racing bikes on the weekend, that's pretty cool.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
So that, again, is happening 30 April, 1 May. Is there a website for more information, or just maybe Google Lumbee Racing? Or
I would Google Lumbee Racing or the Darlington Speedway.
Okay. Awesome. Man, Jerry, we are out of time, but we have covered a ton of ground this afternoon. Talked a little bit about Law Tigers, and then we spent a lot of time talking about the Outer Banks Rally, which is going to be great. The Styling and Sturgis contest. Spent some time talking about the Darlington event later this month into the first part of May. Anything else we need to talk about at this point?
No, we've got future shows to do. There's lots to talk about. I will say this real quick. April is helmet maintenance month.
Thank you.
So the brain bucket, it needs to be looked at. It's a one and done deal. You can even drop it from 4 feet. It's done. So take care of your helmet. Your helmet takes care of your head.
Exactly. Sounds good. Jerry, thanks so much for joining me this afternoon. Really appreciate it. Jerry Spencer from Law Tigers, North Carolina, 1-800-LAW-TIGERS. Check them out.
Bye, Jeff.